What's up guys? It's been a while since I made a video on this channel. Since summer, since I posted my last review. If you guys want to check that out, you can in the description below. And I just wanted to talk about, some of my personal top 10 games that I played this year. I'll try not to ramble as much. I have a bad habit of doing that. But yeah, so here we go. Number 10, I'm gonna start from the bottom all the way up, builds up momentum that way. But number 10, Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS. To be honest with you, I didn't think the 3DS would ever have any other games that would keep me playing the system. Metroid Samus Returns surprised me. It's a remake of an I believe is the Game Boy version of Metroid, which I never got to play. I think the only Metroid game I ever played was Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. But it's been a while since I played Metroid, and seeing this at E3 surprised me when it was revealed. So I wanted to try it for myself. It's been a while since I played platformers too, so this surprised me, and it had a good mix of platforming and especially the new parry system that they implemented into this Metroid title. It was really fun. It's a good mix of that with a hard difficulty. And what I appreciate about this game is, along with its difficulty, is also trusting you as a player that whenever you get a new ability that you run into and earn in this game, it doesn't really elaborate on what these abilities can do. It just trusts you as a player to learn on your own. So I really appreciated that. It goes back to the old school days of gaming. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why Metroid is my Metroid Samus Returns is number 10 on my top 10 games of the year list. Number 9 comes Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch. Reasons for this, not because I think everyone knows by now that the gameplay in Super Mario Odyssey isn't supposed to be amazing. I think it's just with the mainline Mario games, I think we're supposed to expect a simple kind of gameplay, and I do appreciate that. But what I also appreciate with Mario games like Odyssey and Galaxy is the presentation, and what they took with this Mario title was like a tribute. It wasn't like trying to live up to the standards of last mainline Mario, which was Galaxy, but it was a big tribute to the fans of Mario who have been there for a long time. And so to see all that, and to see how they implemented its charm and the way they have it presented, and some of the visuals you'll be able to see in this game, it's really amazing for longtime fans. So that's one of the reasons why I put it at number 9 on my top 10 games of the year. Number 8 comes Horizon Zero Dawn from Guerrilla Games, and even though it didn't really get as much recognition from many outlets out there that have done the awards, the Game Awards already, I still think this should be praised by what Guerrilla Games have done, because this was their first new title since Killzone. And Guerrilla Games, I've always been amazed by what they could create. With Killzone 1, I remember borrowing that from my friend for the PS2 back in elementary school, and I remember seeing some potential in Killzone 1. I love the story, but there was just something about it. And nowadays we're really caught up with the frame rates and how things should perform, how games should perform nowadays. But Killzone 1, you kind of knew there was some potential there. It was just the visuals were kind of held back because of the low frame rate. So yeah, ending my rambling. Horizon Zero Dawn, it was brand new. It was an RPG. They got to get away from all the Killzone identity that they've been, attached to, and just create something new. And I think for for Guerrilla Games, it's a good start. I think there's a lot more things that they have to improve upon. But as a game, it's good. It's just I wish they kind of, with the story itself, they kind of need some improvement there. Like, you never want, single player games to have stories broken apart with intel, and then have them scattered around and trying to look for them, and then try to see some of the backstory in that way. And not to say that the main story itself, with all the cutscenes and all that being told to us, was terrible, but there's just something about that story structure that they displayed in Horizon Zero Dawn that it needs improving. But in terms of gameplay wise, it was great.
Need any help getting down?
Excuse me.
Don't take this the wrong way, but
Yeah, with all the mechanical dinosaurs, and how the apocalypse in this game is, it's original. It's a modern world that's been erased, and then it's started anew, but there's technology and scrap metal left behind, and it was a really original apocalyptic story. So I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate the effort that Guerrilla Games started with this new franchise, but I think they do need a lot more improving with the story, and hopefully they do that with Horizon Zero Dawn 2, or I'm pretty sure it'll be called something else with Horizon, since this is their new Dawn. But yeah, good game otherwise. Number 7 is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Now this got a lot of controversy because it appeared at the Game Awards, and it appeared in the category for Best Game of the Year. Now I do hear people's complaints. I've argued with some people already why it shouldn't be Game of the Year, but I do feel like it should be recognized for some of the records that it broke, especially with the attachment rate with players on Steam, PC players. I didn't really know that games like Dota was like number 1 for attachment rate for PC players to be populated in. So Battlegrounds broke that easily once it came out. I think it took a few months for it to break Dota's record. So it's just records like that need to be recognized. Not that gameplay mechanics should be overshadowed. As a game itself, it wasn't optimized as well, especially if you had like a really good GPU, really good CPU. It still didn't really run well. I'm not gonna disregard that. I do recognize that this game had faults, but since this is the time of recording, since this is late December, and since the game is fully released, I felt like, and especially in terms of fun factor, it's one of the reasons why I put it in my top 10 list, and why it's at number 7. And it's a fun game to play with friends too. So if you're worried about playing solo, do play this with friends if you have it on Steam or on Xbox One. So coming up next after PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds at number 7, for my number 6 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I actually enjoyed how small and compact this game was anyway compared to Uncharted 4, and it was nice to see the fan favorite Chloe again. She was one of my favorites back in Uncharted 2, one of my gaming crushes actually. And it was nice to see her with what's her name? I already forgot her name. I'm terrible, sorry. Let me search this up.
A few moments later.
Right, so she teams up with Nadine Ross, which I thought was pretty random, but I was giving Nadine Ross another chance since I really thought her character was weak in Uncharted 4. So to see her come back, I'm like, okay, we'll give her another chance. Maybe she'll have another backstory that we might learn more about, and maybe will be more forgiving for her as a character. But I still liked Chloe a lot more than Nadine. I feel like there's still something missing about Nadine, and hopefully this is not spoilers for any of you guys seeing this video, but hopefully if they do make more games in this series with Chloe and her, hopefully we get to know more about her as they make more games. But yeah, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, if you want to get started with Uncharted anyway, I think this is a good start, honestly. Or you could play Uncharted 2, which is my personal favorite, or Uncharted 3. But yeah, The Lost Legacy is also a great start because it's not too long compared to Uncharted 4, and I feel like I'm not being fair to Uncharted 4 because that was like the epilogue, right? I mean, that's like the mainline ending to Drake's journey, Nathan Drake's journey. So but I still feel like people should still check out The Lost Legacy because it's a really fun. It encapsulates what Uncharted is all about. It's fun, and it's also not. It doesn't hold your hand too well. Not hold your hand, but it doesn't keep you for too long to get invested into its story and what it's all about. So Lost Legacy is my number 6 for the year. Number 5, no one really talks about this game a lot, and I could see why. It's a really niche franchise here in the West, in North America anyway, is Dragon Quest VIII for the 3DS. I was contemplating whether I should put this in my top 10 games of the year list because it's a port of the PS2 version back in 2005, but it still holds up. There's 2 new characters you could unlock and use in your journey. Dragon Quest is just so underrated in the West, and I feel like people on the 3DS, people who own the 3DS actually are just overlooking this game. It's one of the best RPGs I've ever played. My personal favorite, honestly, JRPG for the whole genre. Actually, it's my favorite. The voice acting is still present in the ports. There's a trade-off between the PS2 version and this version for the 3DS. The sound isn't as good. It's not orchestrated, but it does sound close to what the original sounded like in the PS2 version for the West anyway. It's a really good jolly JRPG game that I think people should have missed out on, honestly. If you have a 3DS, do get this and Metroid. It's one of the best games to come out for the 3DS this year. And yeah. So number 4, so that's my number 5, but number 4 is Resident Evil 7. Beginning of the year 2017. This took me by surprise. I was kind of hesitant before playing this game because I'm like, is this another VR game that Sony's trying to push upon, us players? Is it just going to be one of those like on-rail type of games? That's one of the reasons why I was skeptical about Resident Evil 7, but this truly shocked me. It has a great mix of horror. It's gone first person, and it just, it captures that Resident Evil horror in a totally different light. You know what I mean? Like, it just, and seeing some of the inspirations that they took from movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Japanese horror movies like The Grudge. It's just, how they just, the Resident Evil team, I feel like they got humbled and just went back to the drawing board and just went back to what made Resident Evil so great horror wise. So, and this game is not really long too, and it does have a bit of shooting, but it's still, you still have to base your instincts on survival. So you really got to be careful with how you maneuver yourself in this game, playing as Ethan. So really surprised me this year, just like Resident Evil 4 when it came out many years ago. But yeah, Resident Evil 7 is my 4 for this list. So we're down to our last three, my top three games of the year in my top 10 games of 2017 list. But yeah, we're gonna start off with three with The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Totally different look as well for Zelda, just like how Resident Evil 7 went first person for the first time in its franchise. Zelda went with open world. It kind of, yeah. I mean, the open world aspect is kind of old school if you think about, the earlier Zelda games, but in its 3D aspect, going open world was very refreshing and brand new, and it's something brand new for Nintendo to take this franchise to where it's headed. It was very different, so I gave it a chance, and it was refreshing. Although I am disappointed as well as a Zelda fan because story-wise it was bare bones. You only got, in a sense, a lore. It's almost like Horizon, where you're just left with what's happened after a travesty happens many years ago, kind of thing. And as a Zelda fan, I'm biased. The story wise was disappointing, but I can't disregard the fun factor that I had trying to explore in this huge open world. And the shrines too were pretty fun. They were compact as well. They didn't really keep you long, but I do miss the dungeons that we got to see in stuff like Ocarina of Time. But yeah, not the best Zelda game for me, but still one of the best games that I've played this year. At number 2 is Yakuza Zero. This is the first time I've ever really invested my time into a Yakuza title, and what a surprise, because I thought Yakuza would just be this brawler, badass type of game, just beating up thugs. But it, the thing about like some Japanese games is like there's actually like they actually make you think. They have these experiences, whether it's like side quests or main quests. Particularly in Yakuza Zero, is just they kind of make you think about your life, which is kind of weird to say and put it in that sense. But seeing what Kazuma Kiryu has to go through with his stakes held high, it's just amazing to see his journey, what he used to be, and then have to become right after leaving that all behind, kind of thing. Being an ex Yakuza, especially some of the mind twists in this story, just from one to another, it just kept me so engaged because of some of the surprises that you get to see in this game. It's a really good crime drama, and it does have Japanese quirkiness for its comedic moments, and I love that. I do love the Japanese culture. So, and you actually get to see Japan in the 80s emulated in this game. It's really, really cool. If you like that kind of stuff, please give Yakuza Zero a chance. There's a lot of Yakuza games being localized now that it's slowly getting recognized, and I'm glad. But for more people that haven't been on the Yakuza game bandwagon, now's your chance with Yakuza Zero. And number 1 shouldn't be surprising if you follow me. Is Persona 5. And like I mentioned about Yakuza Zero, something about these Japanese games that just make you kind of pause and just think about life, kind of thing. Persona 5 did that. It just easily became one of my most memorable games this generation. This PS4, Xbox One, Switch generation easily became one of my memorable games, along with Bloodborne. It's just seeing these outcasts that you get to meet in the game, and how they all come together and try to fight this evil that you're faced with in the game. You know, what I love about Persona 5 is not just it kind of has the anime tropes, but it also is grounded. It's dark because it's grounded. It reflects. They do talk about some of the nasty things that we see in society today, actually, and you know, seeing some of the headlines that we see in news today, whether it's, you know, sexual harassment, you know, just abuse of power. I think Persona 5 amplifies. It's just amazing how they kind of put it in their own way. It just really impacts you, and it's a slow burn at first, just like many JRPGs. But if you give it a chance, you'll definitely not want this game to end. It just really sticks with you, and learning about, you know, all these characters, their backstories, and how they all come together is just really heartwarming. And it's totally badass too. I love the style and aesthetics of this game. If you guys haven't seen my review video for this game, do go see that. But yeah, Persona 5, please, if you have not tried this game either, please go try it. It just easily stole my heart. One of the best games of the year, and I'm excited for the anime that's coming out next year. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed my top 10 games of the year, here they are. Leave your comments down below if you disagree, or if you want to discuss your personal top 10 games of the year. I'd love to discuss with you guys as well. Not everyone has the same opinions, but I really want to hear yours. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys enjoy the holidays, rest up. Hope and wish everyone good health, and here's to the new year for new games. Alright, just cause, peace.